Hey everyone! I know it's been like a million years since I've done a video update, so I wanted to actually see you guys face to face now that I'm getting some answers. And I'm so excited. And it's going to be a long update. I'm going to try to put all the bulk of the main information at the front in like a condensed way. And then I'm going to go into more of the details later because I know there's some of you out there that are like me who like having all the information possible. And I have my notes over here, so if you see me looking over here, I just want to make sure I don't forget anything. Um, so because of like the most incredible woman in the world, she's like a soul sister, bestie, um, just I can't like say enough nice things about her. She actually came like from hours away and then went another hour out of her way just to come pick me up and then bring me to a doctor's appointment. And it was for some like it was the dentist, an oral surgeon, and literally I feel like it was a freak situation. I my normal like people who would my care team, as I like to think of them in my head, they usually are able to like accommodate and work around the schedule so that way they can bring me to my appointments and stuff like that. And like for some reason all of the safety nets, so to speak, just fell through. And so it was literally like God sent that it happened the way that it did. Um so anyway, because of her, she was able to point me in a direction for getting some help. And so basically, what it's looking like I have, because I haven't been formally diagnosed yet, but this is what it's coming down to. It's called muscle tension dysphagia, or more commonly known or correctly known as functional dysphagia. So the idea behind like this particular type of dysphagia, you can have trouble swallowing in different parts. So you can have oral dysphagia, you can have pharyngeal and esophageal dysphagia. So you can have it in all different parts. You can have a combination of them even. And so basically, it's just localizing the point where you have a hard time swallowing. It can be in the mouth, it can be in the back here, like that determines whether it goes down your food pipe or your airway, and then it can be actually in your esophagus. Um, Whenever it comes to functional dysphagia, basically, like the concept of like my stress sits in my shoulders or my stress sits in my back, or like just these concepts of where stress sits in the body for some people, and apparently I'm a lucky winner of it, um, it sits in the neck and throat and the swallowing. And so it can definitely impact your ability to swallow. And so what happens is over time, the muscles will kind of start to compensate for what's happening, and it'll do weird things in order to like you're trying to get this food down into you, you're trying to get nutrients into your body, and because you're trying to like force it to do its job, your muscles will just start to compensate in really weird ways. And so it kind of like cycles into itself viciously. So you have to make sure you're getting in enough nutrients so that way you're building up the muscles to make them stronger like they're supposed to be. And then you're also doing exercises to make sure that they're coordinating properly. But it's hard to do that whenever you can't get a whole lot of nutrients in because you're having a hard time swallowing. And so because of this like vicious cycle, it can be kind of hard to break it. Um, so I spoke with a speech language pathologist and a registered dietitian. They're called Dysphagia Duo. And so um, whenever I was speaking to them about it, they felt very confident that this was the case for me, um, that I have functional dysphagia. Um, I am still planning to do a consult with another speech language pathologist, but I don't know when I'm actually going to get that appointment. And the way the doctors work, it's always such a process. gotta go there, do the consult, and then you gotta go back to actually get more treatments and more, it always is just such a long process. Um, but okay, so that is the bulk of it. That's the bulk of it. Now here's for some more of like the detailier type stuff. I know that's not a word, but I just made it a word. So I have been hitting some different walls over time. So like I'll do, for an example, I was doing really well with my homeopath, and then like I would all of a sudden hit a wall, and I'd have to resort back to some like old habits just to get something in me to make sure I wasn't going too calorie deficient. Um, and recently I've hit that wall. Like, so for the last 3 months or so, I've been doing Ensure Plus, getting in as much calories as I can. So it was about 1,300 calories a day. Um, and then all of a sudden, it's like I started having these reactions to it, and it was like I even explained these exact symptoms to the dietitian because she wanted to know exactly what was going on. Like my ears would pop, my eyes would get watery, my nose, like I would sneeze, and it was almost like allergies. And I've had an allergy test done, and I'm not allergic to anything. I've never been allergic to anything ever in my entire life. Whenever my gut health got really bad, I had some sensitivities. I've done a lot of gut health work, over time. Um, but even then, it wasn't. I don't. It just it didn't make sense. The sensitivities were not full blown allergies like this. Um, so anyway, I started having this problem, and so like now I'm back to, it's almost like you have to start from ground zero where you're like, I don't know what to put in my body anymore that's not going to react, what to do. Um, and it wasn't even just food. Like even supplements, like if I wanted to try a supplement like colostrum, for example, people live on colostrum. Like when you're a baby, it is literally what you live on is colostrum. And I would react to it. And I just could not for the life of me understand why I was having reactions to things that nobody should be reacting to. Um when I was talking to the registered dietitian about this, and she also specializes in holistic medicine, she explained that this is a sign of malnutrition. Um, the body just doesn't know what to do with all the nutrients, and so it starts throwing out inflammation, and it's just everywhere. Um, and she explained that even people who get like tube fed or NG fed, that they have to go really slow even with them as well. So like for the first, I think she said they start them off at half an ounce for the first hour, or I'm sorry, for the first 12 hours. That's all they get is half an ounce, just to make sure that their body is used to the nutrients. And then they start going up little by little by little. It's ridiculous how little they have to start you off on before they go up. And I had this experience in the hospital whenever I was on PPN. So whenever they were giving me IV nutrition, I had to very slowly go up with what I was doing. And it made sense what she was saying because it explained why I was having reactions to things and why I always have to go so slow. Like even if I have like a regular vitamin or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. If I'm introducing something into my body, I have to start off with like a fraction of what the normal dose or amount would be before I can go up on it because my body just doesn't know what to do with it. It's trying so hard to do its job. It's just having a really hard time getting there. Um, she did suggest that as I try to add nutrients in, that I should do 1 ounce at a time and take a break from it before trying another ounce, and so on. I explained to her that at one point I was doing fruits only, um, and she said it tells her that the because fruits have a lot of vitamins and minerals in them, they're very compact and nutrient dense. She was saying I was clearly getting something from them that my body desperately needed. And so she wants me to keep doing those, but she also she was like, look, whether you work with us or not, go get a multivitamin. Make sure that you're getting in those nutrients. And I had to ask. I was like, why is it? Because I used to I was in the hospital, and they were doing labs on me every day, every other day. Just very, very on top of it. All the time my labs came back normal. All the time. They always came back in level. Um the only things that looked low were my vitamin D, so they put me on a supplement for it. And then sometimes my potassium would get low, but I would literally just drink some orange juice and it would come right back up in normal range. So it wasn't severely low. Um, so I asked her, like, why is that coming back normal? And she said, your body is doing its job. It's stealing from other places that has it in order to keep you balanced out. Um, but she said, I suspect that soon your labs will not be looking normal, because you're at that place where you're severe. And in one way, I was testing her a little bit just to see if she really kind of knew what she was talking about. And I only say that in the sense of, like, doctors don't explain that to you. They just don't. They tell you, like, they'll tell you, great, your labs look great. I don't understand how they're great, but they look great. um I kind of wanted to see what her answer would be, because it's, sorry, I lost my train of thought in the process of that. There's so much information that was given at this point. um anyway, I kind of was testing her a little bit, to get some answers, because I wanted to make sure I was considering somebody who really understood. um Other doctors, they don't quite get it, and especially if they're not a dietitian. um anyway, so moving on. If I remember what I was thinking of, I will come back to that. But basically all of this aligns to with what I have gone through, which is kind of what I was getting at, where I lost my train of thought with. um my homeopath had me focusing on three major things. It was building the body back up, strengthening it, and inflammation control. Those were the two biggest things. And a big part of that was doing a fruits only diet. And it's because it's so simple for the body to break down, so it can actually use it, the nutrients. And it's it's very available. Like, your body doesn't have to work so hard to use what you're giving it. And so, I'm sorry. Sorry, it's really, the place that I'm sitting in is very awkward. Um, so anyway, all that being said, it seemed to align with what the dietitian was talking about. So getting in nutrients, as much nutrients as possible, in an easy way for my body to digest, especially because it's so unused to what it has been in the condition that it's in the malnourished state that it's in. And inflammation control, because I'm in such a malnourished state, there's so much inflammation going on in my body that now that's how it's responding. um so the speech language pathologist and the registered dietitian, they both were saying that they see this all the time, and especially this type of dysphagia. Um, in my particular case, they said that they would see the biggest turnaround in 6 weeks. But their program runs for 3 months, and then if it needs to go longer, then they do. Um, so so with them, it would be weekly weekly meetings, and that would include working on my mindset, my relationship with food, swallowing exercises, and lots of like intense nutrition focused work. Um, so like a food diary to make sure that all the intakes and outtakes and that and all that kind of stuff. Um, and you start off doing weekly visits with them, but then they go to bi-weekly, whenever you're ready, and then eventually just once a month. And then they do a 6-month follow-up after that just to make sure that you're still, going on the right path and that sort of thing. Um, I would like to see the other specialist with this in this condition, because they would also do the swallowing exercises, but they also have an electrode therapy that they do. And it's basically like let's say you're a stroke victim or you have some kind of nerve disease that damages those things. It stimulates those muscles and those nerves, and it kind of like it's like the on switch, I guess you could call it, for those particular areas. Um, I'm just looking over my notes to make sure I'm not missing anything. Um, Sorry about that. Anyway, so working with them for 3 months is $1,000 total, and then they do have like a payment option where it would be $250 over 4 months, and then I could start with them like right away, which is like amazing because every other doctor and office that you try to get into takes at least a month in between things before it doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm gonna have a little rant moment here before I continue updating. These doctors will tell you how life-threatening your condition is, but then put you off for at least a month before they do anything, and it's like I can't make the two concepts connect. Um, anyway, so I will be doing a fundraiser that way I can get started with them. Um, but also just to buy some easier to digest formulas that have a lot more calories per serving that like I desperately need. Um, and I'll try to be as detailed as possible about the nutritional drinks and any extra expenses that come up. I'll try to add all those details too. I'm I mean this has been going on for almost 3 years now, and I've always tried to be super transparent with all of that, and so I'll keep I'll keep as open as I can about it. Um, I'm also in the process of getting regular appointments with a psychiatrist and like a whole mental health team. Um, and I would have already been in with them, but like I said before, they had me do a consult with them and then literally scheduled me exactly a month out to see them again. And I don't know if that's going to be their regular process. And if that's what they try to do, I'm going to definitely encourage them to see me at least once a week because I clearly need to be seen more often. Um, but with that mental health team, I would also be working with a dietitian with them, so that's great. But anyway, I think that's pretty much everything. I'm really excited that I'm finally getting answers, and really that's like been the hardest part is like I would be doing so good and then I'd hit this wall and or I'd have some kind of hiccup and I couldn't explain all these different like mixed signals almost, and it's basically what is happening with my body is giving me mixed signals to all the things that I'm doing to it because it's just trying to do its job. So all the way around, it's just like I'm finally getting somewhere. Like why this supplement is giving me this reaction, or why this food is suddenly giving me a reaction, even though I don't have allergies and even though I don't have all these conditions. Um, so if there are prayers, prayers for provision, prayers that my body holds up, prayers that my body builds up the way that it needs to, and prayers that my mental health team can help me, that I can get the stress and anxiety under control, and then eventually I will be able to eat. I will. It's just so hard. It's just literally one day at a time these days. So, yes, those are the main prayers. And also prayers for all the people who have to put up with me. They don't have to, but they do it because they love me. Like my fiance, for example, or his family, who are constantly bringing me back and forth for my appointments whenever he can't. My family, just because, like just the emotional support there. I mean, really, they would support me any way that I needed them to. I'm really fortunate. I'm fortunate that I have a good support system around me. So praying for all of them would be great because this isn't easy on them either. Um, with that, hopefully I'll have good news soon. And I love you guys. Bye.